Daily Detroit is brought to you by the community. Support our work at patreon.com/dailydetroit.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to your Daily Detroit, coming to you from our studio at Techtown. And joining me are a couple of great people. One voice you know very well to my right, none other than the illustrious Fletcher Sharpe. How are you? It's good to see you in flesh. The soccer fields have not fully swallowed you into Fort Wayne.
Close though. It's not a surface is a little hard, you know, can open up and grab anybody. But yeah, it's been a minute. I've been busy, dog, pet stuff, just piling up and smelling like people's animals, which is cool, but also, you know, it's a little stinky at times. So yeah, I needed to come up to breathe. So, you know, now I've got some more time, hoping to say some more stuff and let people hear me make these awkward endings.
Well, and the Lion season's coming up. We're already into preseason, but we're not here to talk about that today. How was your soccer season?
We got to the tournament, and we lost in the first round, got to the losers bracket semis, and someone else probably could tell you a bit more about that too, as she was also on that team.
And joining me across the table is Alissa Graff, who is part of the leadership team for a very cool concept, Bar 9. And it's a little different than your normal cocktail slinging place. Alissa, welcome to Daily Detroit.
Thanks for having me here.
What is Bar 9? What's the key thing behind it?
Sure thing. So Bar 9 will be Detroit's and Michigan's first ever establishment dedicated to showing and celebrating women's sports. So we'll have women's sports on the televisions and space for local teams and supporters to gather everyone from, local teams to pros to adult rec teams.
I mean, I didn't know the adult rec. I'm probably gonna find some new teams to watch. What sports are you thinking, I guess, in that arena?
So pretty much if there is a women's sport that is going to be recorded and put on some streaming platform, we will try and show it. So
roller derby?
We are definitely going to have roller derby.
I know some people are going to be happy about that.
Oh, yeah.
So why a woman-focused sports bar at this time?
Yeah, women's sports have gained immense popularity in the last few years. Finally, there's more opportunities than ever to watch women's sports. And we think that Detroit deserves spaces to watch women's sports. It's still hard to get an average sports bar to turn on the women's game. Oftentimes, even if they're playing replays of men's games, they're still a little bit reticent to put on a women's game. So we're building a space where the women's game will be the default, not the exception.
Yeah, I mean, that's totally fair. There's been plenty of times you've gone into a bar and it's like they're showing some old game from 2010. It's like, the Women's Euro semifinal is on. They're like, that's cool. I don't know what that is, but here, watch some more Denver Nuggets highlights. And it's like, but this is something that's actually happening now and like is important all along, across the entire world, not just here. It's like they're doing the NWSL finals or WNBA like Commissioner's Cup. And it's like, for sure. But don't you want to watch, this little golf tournament that's happening in some small country? And it's like, no, everyone here would like to see this other thing instead. So to have a place dedicated to like letting that happen, I think is really great.
I think it's important to highlight too, Fletcher, and you're somebody who follows sports, has been covering sports with us in various ways for a number of years. There's been a rise in women's sports, not just the WNBA. I think that it gets the mind share, right? Because it's the most visible. But women's sports, because people forget, not only is the competition good, but you have so many people who played women's sports who are now adults, who are now participating in society, and they'd like to see things that reflect them.
For sure. I mean, like one big thing, I'm sure Alissa agrees, one big thing is like seeing yourself represented somewhere is a nice feeling to say, you know what? I did this. I want someone else to do this. You want to show someone, hey, I have a young daughter. I have a young son. Look at this sport. And it's a lot easier now when you have a young daughter to say, look, you want to grow up to be an athlete? It's not just, you want to be like Mia Hamm. It's like, you want to be like Trinity Rodman. You want to be, instead of it being Sue Bird, you have Aja Wilson. You have Caitlin Clark. You have Paige Buick. You have players who are like older, but like still youthful enough to look up and say, look, you can be just like this, instead of me making old Detroit Shock references that nobody understands at all.
I got you, Fletcher.
You're gonna be like Deanna Nolan.
I
They're
got
like,
you.
They're like,
she was
who?
my favorite.
She was my favorite. I got a high five. Yeah, I love Tweety. She could dunk at 5'10". That's amazing. She's an amazingly strong young lady who people just don't know about because they're like, well, if it didn't happen before this year, it doesn't matter. And it's like, that's not how time works at all. That's not how. So the chance to have somewhere here, thankfully everyone here can then experience it, but a chance to have something like that here where you can go and have these conversations. I know like there's one meme where people talk about like guys can sit around and name all these old football players or these old and it's like, yeah, I'd like to go somewhere and name old WNBA players too. Like that's something that I would love to do. So to have a venue where this can happen and actually just be, I love it. I'm so happy for it.
Now, I know you're part of a leadership team, but what was the origin story of saying we need to do this here?
So I think that for me, I've been talking with my friends and family who also love watching women's sports about the rise in popularity in women's sports for the last few years. More people than ever before, like we've been talking about. Casual fans are starting to, tune in, listen, figure out what's happening. And I think once I saw the first few women's sports bars in the country open up, see their success, I got really excited, to be honest. I think that they've shown people will show up for women's sports. I mean, we've known that people show up for women's sports always, but people are coming to these bars, building community at these spaces, and why not here? Every time that I've traveled somewhere and there's been a big women's game on that I want to try and watch, it's always been a challenge to try and figure out where can I go do that. And I don't want people to have that challenge in Detroit. So we are trying to build that space where people know where to go to watch the big women's games, even the small women's games. Any women's sports, we will have it on the televisions.
How have the pop-up parties been received? Because I know that I follow you on Instagram, and people should do that if they're interested to keep up with what you're doing. And you can do that over at bar number 9 Detroit. How are those being received?
They're being received incredibly well. Our first pop-up watch party, we had no idea what to expect. We did a watch party for the opening night of WNBA games. We're partnering with local establishments for the time being, using their televisions and, bringing people to their spaces. And we had over 60 people at that first pop-up watch party, which blew us away. Our next one, we had scheduled to do a U.S. women's national team friendly against Canada. And the few days before that happened was when the WNBA team in Detroit got announced. And we had been in conversation with some local partners, Women's Basketball Club Detroit and Where the Run At 313, both incredible organizations building spaces for women to play basketball in the city of Detroit. Reached out to them and put together, in the span of a few hours, a watch party for the Commissioner's Cup final for the WNBA. That was the day after the announcement for the Detroit WNBA team coming back to the city. And we had over 70-some people there on short notice to celebrate the return of WNBA coming to Detroit.
One of the things about third spaces, we talk about on the show, the importance of third spaces, the importance of getting out and communicating and getting together with friends. But those spaces need to be welcoming. Those spaces also need to reflect like what you're actually interested in. And that's why I think some of like the generalist stuff hasn't caught as much traction as of late.
Yeah, some of the best people I know who've really gotten involved in a sport have just started by like, I walked in somewhere, I watched a few videos, I watched a clip, and now I love this team. I will get a full body sleeve of this. And it's like this, it's how you help grow things organically. So to have a hub here that will help dedicate to doing that, I think is great and a net positive by far for the city.
So you don't have a brick and mortar yet, but you're looking for one, right?
That's right.
What's on your dream list? Tell the people.
Man.
What would you like in a perfect world? Let's make Alyssa's and your friends' dreams come true.
Sure. In a perfect world, we are able to build out a space that allows for multiple functions. So yes, we have the name bar in our name, but we want it to be more than just a bar. We want it to be a space for community. We want it to be a space where, local girls or women's teams can come for their end of season party. They can come for team meetings. We want it to be welcoming and inviting in more ways than are just, your classic sports bar. So we want it to have a neighborhood vibe. It'll be cozy, but it'll also be big enough to accommodate the immense support for women's sports that we know exists in Detroit. We were happily surprised by the turnout that we got when we showed the Women's Euros finals. We were at Florian East, and we packed it. It was standing room only. So we know that we need a big enough space to accommodate everyone. We would love to have some outdoor space for being able to kind of set aside some space for kids to be there too, because we do think it is important for young girls to be able to watch professionals play these sports that they're currently playing, because I know that was immensely important for me as a young athlete, being able to go to WNBA games and see these women being incredible athletes. And so we want to create these spaces for not just us adults who have grown up either playing or loving sports. We also want to build for the generations to come.
Do you have any idea? Are you thinking metro region? Do you have a few different cities in mind? What are you, as I said, I know I'm being specific here, but
No, I appreciate it. No, it's going to be in the city of Detroit. Okay. We feel strongly about that, especially with the WNBA team coming back to Detroit. We want to make sure that we are the destination for people to come watch that WNBA team, whether it's before games, hanging out after games, coming to us for away games. We also, of course, have the new DCFC stadium being built. There's going to be opportunities for people to watch the women in a bigger space there as well. So as the women's sports fandom grows in Detroit, we want to make sure we are in the city supporting.
It's great to have a hub that's central, especially, like you said, for events where people are coming down here to either watch the sport live or do something in the city. So it's great to have somewhere you can just show up and be like, well, maybe this place doesn't have it, but Bar 9 is going to have this on. So maybe we can't get a ticket to get in there. We can at least go there, watch it with people who actually are going to care about what's on the TV and not just, be in the way of something. So yeah, that's, again, a net positive all around, in my opinion.
You and I are both from the east side, Fletcher, and I can't help but think with the fact that there's that new Uniroyal site. I know the building's been demolished, but do you remember where the old Honest John's was?
Yes.
Right off of East Jefferson?
Yes.
Man, a whole different, you think about when that came down a few years ago, if that had been able to hold on, I remember that back in the day. I was able to go there just before they moved to Midtown.
Yeah, no, I think that'd be a good spot. I mean, even thinking over there, I'm thinking of somewhere else. It's right by Yellow Light, which doesn't matter, wink. But
so listeners know, I feel like it's just a constant row of donuts from Yellow Light into your mouth.
Honestly, yeah. If they have they have the specialty ones. If it's not, they have the cinnamon sugar. They have maybe what else? Maybe get a little coffee slushy.
Oh, that coffee slushy.
Don't need to know
the sugar and the coffee. It's a whole nother.
Don't need to know that much about me. I think that's too much.
I'm sharing my own vices here, sir.
But
we're not. You're not. I'm not throwing this on you.
Right over there's an establishment that's changed hands multiple times, and I was like, if they could get something in here that could really stick, this is a great. It's like right on the corner of Jefferson and not Connor Jefferson.
The old bank.
No, it's
although that used to be a restaurant. Oh, no, that's now a restaurant again.
I think Jefferson and Alter. It's right on the corner of Jefferson and Alter.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, if they could get something, it's like there's a lot next there where people could park. If you could just get a business establishment that can actually hold on and actually get some foot traffic in there, like that's the perfect spot because you have a big lot for people to park. You have consistent businesses across. If you guys end up not carrying food by chance, kind of like how some bars, like we have drinks, we have whatever, but we don't have food, but you can bring, like the Folding Warehouse is like, we don't make food, but if you have pizza, you can bring it in here. There are some places that like might have some food where it's like, you can go over here and do this. And just, it's tremendous foot traffic on Jefferson, like right around that area. So like And
then there's Corktown, right? There's all kinds of options, right? You've got the new DCFC stadium. There's all kinds of spots. I mean, that's the thing. I know a lot of people listen to this show that have spots around town. And if you do, you should get in touch with Alissa because they're looking to do things. I think the city is your oyster at this point, and I think it's such a great thing that is existing. So what are the next steps and how can people get involved?
Yeah, sure. So a few next steps. So one, we are thrilled that we got a Motor City Match Award for their planning track. So we're going to start, working through that. We are working on developing our fundraising plan right now. And so that will be starting ideally this fall or winter. So stay tuned for that. We are going to continue hosting pop-up watch parties. So our next one is Saturday, September 6th at 11 a.m. at the Congregation. We will be showing a replay of an early game of USA versus Samoa in the Women's Rugby World Cup. We're partnering with Detroit Rugby for that one, and of course with Congregation. It'll be a great spot. You can get a coffee, get some snacks.
It is a favorite of our listeners for sure.
Yep. So we'll be on the lower level showing that game. Next steps are, really securing that location, doing the build out, and, hopefully in the next year or so, we will open our doors as our own bar.
So if somebody wants to learn more or get involved, where can they go?
So we are on Instagram, as was mentioned before, bar number 9 Detroit. You can also go to our website where you can sign up for our email list, where we send about monthly updates on everything that's happening with Bar 9. So that is bar9detroit.com. Again, bar number 9 Detroit.com. You can reach out to us via email through the website. So if you have something specific that you want to share with us, we'll see that and get back to you as soon as we possibly can. And all of our updates are right now coming through Instagram and through that monthly newsletter.
Awesome. Well, Alissa Graff, part of the leadership team for Bar 9. Thank you so much for stopping by our studio at Techtown. I really appreciate you.
Thank you so much for having me.
And that is it for today for your Daily Detroit podcast. Do not forget to tell a friend about the show. Word of mouth is the best way to push Detroit's conversation forward. And follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you listen to shows. Thank you so much for being part of our community. I'm Jer Stays. Remember that you are somebody, and we'll talk tomorrow.